What's up guys, Garrett with Aldan American, and today I'm going to be going over assembling your new coilover shocks. So you've ordered your new coilovers, you've got some new springs, now what? What do we do? How do they go together? I'm here to show you. So here we've got one of our Phantom Series single adjustable coilovers. We've got our matching coil spring. This shock is going to take a 9-inch spring. Springs match with the shocks. Got to make sure you have the right length spring to match your shock, and we can help you out with that. Screwdriver, good high quality screwdriver. Spanner wrench, this is a necessary tool. You're going to have this to set your spring preload. Included with your coilover, you're going to have a couple sets of sleeves. These will be if you're ordering up the bushing style. If you're going bearings, you'd have bearings. Also with your coilover, you're going to have a retainer. This is one of our new one-piece spring retainers that's going to include the Allen wrench and also a set screw that operates, with this pressure clamp style retaining ring. So getting into it, a good bench vise, always good to have. Also some good copper-based Antiseize, messy stuff, but very, very necessary as we're putting on that retainer onto the aluminum shock body. So here we go. Here's at the shop, this is typically what we'll do. And these are plastic vise inserts, so we're not gonna run the risk of damaging anything on the shock. If you don't have plastic vise inserts, go ahead and throw a rag in here. It'll definitely protect the aluminum. So take your coilover, you're gonna throw it upside down. Put that in the vise, and once you've got that all in there, everything's all nice and tight. Now we're gonna start assembling the coilover. And again, you're building it upside down. So top mount is in the vise. Now you're gonna take your spring, it's marked, flip that upside down. That's gonna go onto the shock. From here, we provide set screws, and these already have a little bit of Loctite applied on there. So what you'll do is actually install that in there, get it snug so it's not gonna fall out. And it's still loose. See how that pinch gap, it's not fully closed. It's not gonna be too tight, and we'll be able to get this on. So from there, let's take a little bit of Antiseize, and this stuff's copper base. A little bit goes a long, long way, but what you're gonna be doing is applying that into the actual threads of this retaining ring. So this guy's got a little brush tip, hit that up, and you may need to apply more later, but this is enough to get us started. So then what we're gonna do is get this ring going, and now you're beginning to assemble your coilover shock. So that Antiseize is preventing this aluminum retaining ring from basically welding itself or going to the shock body. So, as you're through time, as you get these installed, Antiseize is your friend, and it's gonna make life easier when you're, ever having to remove the spring or set your preload on that spring. So, you can get it kind of hand snug, and once you've got them going, again, today we're running a linear coil spring. So with these springs, this is a 200-pound spring, it's gonna be its spring rate once you have an inch of preload on there. If you don't have enough preload, and by preload I'm meaning how much tension is on that spring. So right now, very, very minimal preload. As you can see, you're not gonna be using that full rate of the spring. So once you get it on there, you run the risk of bottoming the shock out and other things. So to get this shock at basically a baseline starting point, we need to set this ring up, and with that spring, with an inch of spring preload. So now that I've got it on, I've got the spring contained, everything is on the shock. We've got our retainer set. We got to make sure, okay, we got that set screw in this one-piece design. We're gonna take the shock out. We're gonna flip it back over, and now we're gonna take our spanner wrench, and make sure too, so you got the top mount now, the bottom mount is now in the vise, and you're gonna take your adjustable spanner wrench, and from here, take a screwdriver. So what we'll do is we'll take this screwdriver here, get that mechanics advantage going. So what we're doing by turning or adding pressure to this clamp or this retaining ring, you're basically loading the spring. So this is what we call preload. And again, linear spring, you want to have 1 inch of preload on that. And that's gonna be a good baseline starting point. And it's easy, do it in the bench vise, because now once we've got this all loaded up, we can take this, put it on our 4-link or on our car, control arms, wherever you're installing them onto, and then you can do your final adjustments from there. There we go. So, taking a look, we've got some preload added, see where we're at. So take our tape measure. So we're right at 8 inches. So we took this 9-inch spring, now it's measuring out from the base to the upper as it's installed, coming up with 8 inches on there. We have our 1 inches of preload on this spring, on this shock, and now we're ready to install it. And once you have it all in, once everything's bolted on, you have your ride height where you want it, you're gonna take your Allen key again, snug up that set screw, and then give it a 1/4 turn. And once it's all snug, and that'll be the final setting. This guy will be tight, your ride height will be set, and you're all good to go. So check out aldanamerican.com for more tech tips, and thanks for watching this video.